Most men fold under pressure. He got stronger. He woke up alone, the house echoing with absence. His wife was gone, his career shattered, and $200,000 evaporated in a failed investment. Most men would panic, fill nights with noise, drown in regret, lash out at fate. But John did something rarer. He paused. He drew a steady breath and asked, "What can I control?" In the next 10 minutes, you'll see how this moment of stillness ignited a silent, methodical comeback. A comeback built on Stoic principles, forged in quiet discipline, and one that now radiates through every subtle gesture, from a knowing nod to a younger woman's inviting smile. Reason 1. The breakdown. Facing the abyss. John's world imploded in 24 hours. His wife of 20 years served divorce papers. His employer, reeling from an economic downturn, let him go. And a speculative startup bet wiped out his $200,000 nest egg. In faceless animation, the walls of his home go from warm to cold. The frames of family photos disappear. His bank balance ticks down to zero. Most men, faced with this triple blow, seek distraction. Social media scrolling, late-night drinking, blaming others. But John did something else. He sat down with a blank page. John's journal became his lifeline. Day 1, breath exercises and a 10-minute inventory of feelings. Day 2, a brief walk to clear his head before writing achievable goals. In animation, each small act, closing his eyes, setting pen to paper, stepping outside, becomes a visual of reclamation. This radical acceptance of reality, paired with unwavering focus on controllables, turned desperation into resolve. He didn't yet know how he'd rebuild finances or relationships, but he knew exactly where to begin, within himself. And in that stillness, he planted the seeds of his entire comeback. Reason 2, reclaiming stability. Emotional, mental, financial. With his life reduced to zero, John rebuilt stability on 3 pillars: emotional, mental, and financial. Emotionally, he created a mood log, dedicating 10 minutes each morning to journal not on why he suffered, but on what he felt and how he could channel it. By naming emotions, I feel anxious, I feel regretful, he removed their power to hijack his mind. Mentally, he immersed himself in Stoic literature. Each week, he tackled a new text: Seneca's Letters, Epictetus's Enchiridion, Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. He highlighted passages on inner strength, revisited them daily, and jotted down one actionable insight. Over time, these lessons became mental guardrails, guiding choices instead of knee-jerk reactions. Financially, John drew up a strict budget. No dining out, no subscriptions, no impulse purchases. He itemized essentials, rent, utilities, groceries, and cut the rest. Simultaneously, he reached out to former clients for freelance consulting gigs at reduced rates. The first checks were small, but they landed on time, restoring his faith in his professional value. Animated graphs show expenses plummeting, income slowly rising. But the real shift is internal. A man who once equated worth with net worth now measures success by consistency, by showing up, by meeting his own commitments. Younger women observing this quiet recalibration sense a rare magnetism, a man who shoulders responsibility, who doesn't crumble under stress. That unspoken promise, I can handle adversity, is more attractive than any flash of wealth. Reason 3, the power of quiet confidence. John's comeback spoke in whispers, not shouts. He didn't broadcast his plan on social media or shout achievements from the rooftops. Instead, he embodied quiet confidence. In documentary-style animation, we see him walking into a co-working space at dawn, door opening on calm determination rather than anxiety. His shoulders are back, his steps measured. He attends networking events but arrives early, prepared with thoughtful questions instead of a frantic pitch. He listens more than he talks, nodding deliberately. When a younger woman in the coffee line offers a subtle, curious smile, he meets it with steady eye contact and a slight nod, then returns to his drink. No chase, no oversell, just presence. Contrast this with a younger man who fidgets, laughs too loudly, checks his phone between lines of conversation. That restless energy broadcasts insecurity. John's composed demeanor, on the other hand, radiates safety. I am comfortable in my own skin. In the stillness of John's silent breakthroughs, he discovered a truth. True confidence isn't loud. It's unshakable. Reason 4, wisdom and maturity as your edge. John's decades of experience, corporate ups and downs, family responsibilities, past failures, became his secret weapon. In animated flashbacks, he's shown in his 20s hustling overtime, then in midlife learning humility, after a tough layoff. Now, every scar is a story. Younger men often compete with bling or bravado, the newest gadgets, flashy trips, high-octane bragging. John competed on depth instead. At a virtual panel, he shares a precise anecdote, how losing a major client taught him the true value of transparent communication and contingency planning. That single story resonates more than any resume bullet point. Younger women, smiling politely at first, lean in when they hear genuine insight. They test depth with a casual question. How did you handle that? John responds with measured calm, offering not just facts, but reflection on mindset shifts. His narrative reveals empathy, strategic thinking, and the capacity to learn from hardship. Stoic practice. Distill 3 pivotal life lessons into clear, one-sentence mantras. Memorize them. When conversation allows, deploy these distilled truths. Each one lands like a soft but firm handshake. No flash, just substance. In a culture that prizes novelty, wisdom is underrated, yet it signals maturity, stability, and an ability to guide rather than merely entertain. That edge, born of lived experience, sets you apart and amplifies your attractiveness in ways money and looks never could. Reason 5, the silent, methodical rebuild. John's comeback was not a Netflix special. It was a daily ritual. Each morning began with a cold shower to jolt his system, followed by 10 minutes of journaling on gratitude and intention. He reviewed one Stoic quote, perhaps Marcus Aurelius: "The impediment to action advances action," and asked, "How will I apply this today?" His afternoons were structured, client calls scheduled with prep sheets, a phone-free lunch to reset his mind, and a 20-minute walk to clear mental clutter. Evenings involved a strict budget check, 30 minutes of reading on financial strategy, and lights out by 10 p.m. In animation, you'd see bricks sliding into place, each habit a brick in a resilience wall. He tracked progress in a simple spreadsheet: income versus expenses, mood rating, tasks completed, small wins, a successful pitch, a day under budget, a journal entry without complaint, became combustible fuel for confidence. Over 6 months, disciplined routines turned a $200,000 hole into a structured repayment plan and rebuilt his consulting revenue above previous peaks. Yet none of it was public spectacle. It was a private alchemy of consistency and self-trust. That silent, methodical approach forged unshakable confidence. It's the antithesis of instant gratification culture. But when you master incremental progress, you become resilient by design. You move through life knowing you have the temperament and routines to rebuild from any setback, and that assurance radiates in every gesture. Reason 6. Reframing tragedy as a gift. By the end of year 1, John's life looked different, but better. The divorce ceased to feel like a wound and more like liberation from a misaligned partnership. The job loss became a liberation from corporate constraints. The $200,000 loss became his crucible, burning away illusions and forging clarity. Stoicism teaches that every obstacle is an invitation to practice virtue. John reframed each calamity as a hidden gift. His journal entries shift from "Why me?" to "What does this teach me?" He records insights. I learned that true security comes from self-discipline. I discovered gratitude in simplicity. I found purpose in serving others. Younger women, observing his quiet poise in co-working lounges and social settings, offer small smiles. Each becomes an unspoken test. Is he still steady? John's response is always the same: present, respectful, unshaken. That consistency signals that his self-worth no longer hinges on external validation, but flourishes from within. John's journey reframes tragedy as a compass, pointing toward resilience, purpose, and authentic attraction. It shows that the darkest hours can be the forge of a stronger self, one whose silent strength commands respect and inspires desire. John's story reminds us that the greatest comebacks happen in the quiet spaces between action and reaction: emotional, mental, and financial stability, quiet confidence, seasoned wisdom, disciplined routines, and the ability to reframe tragedy. These are the 6 pillars of true resilience and attraction. Which of John's transformations resonates most with you? Share your own challenge or victory in the comments below. If John's journey inspired you, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. For more real-world Stoic case studies, remember, when life strips you bare, it may be unveiling your greatest strength. Stay disciplined, stay grounded, and build your silent comeback.